Action. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Show and Tell. I'm Billy, and I'm your host. I'm coming to you from New York City, and today I'm going to take you on a little bit of a New York adventure. I would think that many of you may have been to New York, but if you've never lived here, it's a little bit of an unusual place to live. So I'm going to show you around my neighborhood a teensy bit, and I'm also going to show you the inner workings of a Manhattan 24-hour doorman apartment building. Before I do that, I know you want to know about my knitting. So let me share with you a finished object. You might have seen this in my episode where I was with my group of knit along knitters, but I hadn't really talked about it. So let me stand up and show you a little bit more. And let me give you a close-up of my buttons because I think they're really pretty. Um, So it's a lace cardigan. I'll put my Ravelry project page link down below so you can go and look at it. And the yarn that I used is Cascade. Um, I have to say it was problematic, which is why it was in a timeout for quite a while. Um, I don't know. It's the first thing I've done that was overall lace, and I had a hard time getting acclimated to the repeats and also the shaping. I wanted to give it a little more waist shaping than the pattern called for, and I got hung up with the length of the sleeves a little bit. So I had a few different problems with it, but because I went ahead and bought the vintage buttons, I knew that I would eventually force myself to complete this project, and I'm happy that I did. I think it's really beautiful. It's all lace in the back as well. A few housekeeping things. You know that you can subscribe in the lower right-hand corner, and below that is a bell-shaped icon for getting notifications. Oh, I'm all tongue twisted today. So go ahead and hit the top bell because that will give you notifications. Speaking of which, tomorrow I'm going to premiere an episode. So if you're seeing this now, go ahead and find the episode that's set for premiere for Thursday, April 22nd. And the time will be there on that episode. And YouTube will even, I think, send you a little reminder if you're signed up for that. I'm going to have a guest from Sweden, Erica, and she was just featured in her local newspaper. So I do think that you'll enjoy checking in on us, and we'll both be there in the chat to talk with you, answer your questions. Subtitles. So Erica probably has a following in her home country. And there may be other people throughout the world for whom English is not their first language, but never fear. Just next to where the subscribe button is, there's a little gear. And if you click on that gear, it will pop up a place where you can select the language that you would like subtitles to be in. So I think that's a really nice feature of YouTube. They do that for us automatically. And it's there for you. So go ahead and use it. I'm going to insert here a little video of my unboxing of my yarn for my recent project. You might have seen the project. I'm doing this a little bit out of order because this is part of my knit along. Let me show you the right side. Okay, this is the right side of the first sleeve. This is the 1949 Sirdar Chevron pattern, and I'll put information about that. There's still time for you to join in our knit along, but this yarn is from a British company called Colourmart, and I talked in another episode, and I'll put a link up in the top, about their NM numbers. So you might be able to see that this is 3 strands, 3 very fine strands that are coming off of 3 cones like this. And because I'm staying home a lot of the time, I'm not traveling with my knitting, it's really easy for me to keep those 3 cones beside me wherever I'm knitting. And they unravel, they don't get twisted. It's not like balls of yarn where you have to be constantly shifting the position. This is coming off without knotting up. It's really dreamy. It's great. It's easy. I also bought buttons. Here's one of the buttons. They're a little bit smaller than I would like, but I have 11 of them. They're black glass. They are vintage. And I think if I make small enough buttonholes, I'll probably use a whole bunch of them down the front. And I think that will look okay too. They're clearly not as large as the buttons here. Let me show you, for example. Oops, comparison. It's a much smaller button, but I'll try and make it work. I think against the dark yarn, it's not going to be that noticeable anyway. Okay, my package arrived so swiftly from Colourmart over in the UK, and I wanted to do a quick unboxing for you. It came through customs so fast. Just in no time. Now you'll remember in one of my recent episodes, I talked about them being the NM number people. So, I'm so excited. This is the first time I've ever ordered from them. Looks great. Oh, wow. Okay. I wasn't sure I was going to like the color. But I think it's going to be very interesting. This is for the Chevron pattern, Sirdar Vintage. Okay, there's something else in this package. I know they were sending me some free sample things. Oh yeah, first time customer, you get this pack of samples. With all the different types of yarn. Oh, very cool. I love the black and white. Cool. Look at this. All the different flavors, different weights. So before we go off on a little tour of my neighborhood, I wanted to just mention that I'm going to put a link in the show notes to a little video that you can watch of Fanny Brice in 1931. She's on stage with the chorus of a musical called Sweet and Low that opened on Broadway November 17th, 1930 at Chanin's 46th Street Theater, which is only a couple of miles from where I live. And because she's knitting, I thought it would be of interest to you. So I can't put it here because YouTube frowns upon that, but the link will be in the show notes. And now off on our little tour of just my block and the next block over. So hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. And for now, take care. I know you're familiar with this red haul from watching my prior podcasts, but I thought I would take you through each step as I leave. First of all, most New York City apartments have a little peephole so you can see who's at your door, and most have more than one lock. This is a deadbolt. So I have 2 locks. No chain. A lot of times in the movies you'll see chains on the doors. This is the hallway where my elevator and garbage room are. And you'll see the elevator on the left is on the 20th floor and on the right is at the lobby. And I've pressed the down button. We're going to go down. But while I'm waiting, I thought I'd show you the current signage. Only 2 people are allowed in the elevator at the same time during the pandemic. We have a little bit of art in our hallway, and each floor in our building is decorated differently. Different carpet, different paint, different artwork, different lighting fixtures. Here's our fairly newly refurbished elevator cab. And you'll see there's a large button for the lobby. And I thought I would do this in real time so you could see how long it actually takes me to exit my building. It's not like living in a house where you open your front door and you're right there on the street. Okay, but here we're arriving. And by coincidence, that was my son. He happened to be coming in as I was going out. Now I'm wending my way through the lobby of our apartment building. You can see there's a Japanese style garden outside. This building was built in the 1960s. It's very unusual for Manhattan. The white brick is common for the time period, but this glass enclosure is kind of a unique thing, and that interior garden is also very specific to our building. I've lived here for over 45 years. And I just love it. It's a little bit of an oasis in the big city, and you're about to see the UPS truck and New York City street traffic. It was a little sunny. I was trying to keep the sun out of the camera, so you're seeing part of my hand. Sorry for that. It'll end soon. I almost got splashed with water. That man was cleaning the sidewalk in front of his establishment. It's a health food store on our corner, and they have a lot of flowers in an outdoor display. Now we're approaching a large avenue. One of the many nail salons in our neighborhood is on the opposite corner. And then the restaurant you just saw has extended out onto the street. And you see some of the other low-rise as well as high-rise buildings. I'm showing you the southbound side after having already shown you the northbound side of the traffic. Most avenues in Manhattan only go in one direction. 3rd Avenue, where I live, is unusual in that it's 2 directions, because if you go up just about 10 blocks, it becomes only one way. And this street that we're about to walk down is a very quiet street. It's not exactly residential. There's a church, there's the nursery school of the church with its playground. There's a private school that's kindergarten through 12th grade at the far end of this block. And there's not a lot of vehicular traffic on this street. So when our son was learning to drive, this was a great place for him to practice parking. A lot of places in Manhattan, it's hard to learn to park because there's a steady stream of cars coming up behind you that want to go where they want to go, and you're in the way, especially when you're learning and you're going slowly. Anyway, this is a beautiful building that's a home for people with Down syndrome. It's a beautiful building with a beautiful tree outside of it, and this is prime season. You can see the little flowers are in bloom. There's the playground I mentioned. So it's kind of a quiet neighborhood once you get past the avenue. Here's St. George's Church, where J.P. Morgan used to worship, the financier, the famous financier. An attempt was made on his life while he was here. And at the very end of this, there's a small park. Actually, it's one of a pair of parks that are mirror images of one another, but I'm only going to show you the one that's nearest to us. This is actually a dead-end street. It ends at this park. And you can turn either right or left, which is unusual because, as I said, most things in Manhattan are one way. when you turn to the left, you'll see the church. That's the church on the corner. And now we're entering the park. And the first thing I'll show you is this cute little, it almost looks like a birdhouse, but it's a little place where you can drop off unwanted books and other people can borrow them. It's cute. I mean, there is a real city library not too far away, but this is a convenient thing. I've never used it, but it's there. Very often this circle of plantings is magnificently landscaped, beautiful flowers, and there's often a fountain on in the center of it. The fountain's not on today. These are the kids from the school across the street. I think school just resumed. Maybe it's still every other day. That's a Friends meeting house, a Quaker meeting house that's affiliated with this school on the corner.